Hey guys, welcome back for part 6 of how it's made. I adopted 2 new Greyhound puppies. They're super sweet. They're not really puppies though, they're 2 and 3 years old. If you're on my Facebook page, you've seen them. They're absolutely great. And then we've been busy, so I got a bunch of aluminum blades ordered, so I had to get those finished up and sent out for some stage work. So those were pretty fun. And then getting back to our blade that we've been working on for this series. So just today, just got a chance to get back to it. I actually filmed, I did all the distal taper grinding on this, and I filmed it, but I lost the footage because my phone, I guess, didn't have enough memory and it crashed. So I can't regrind it and film it because I've already done it. So just going to talk about it. If we remember right, so part 4 and part 5, 4 was the rough grind, and part 5 I was talking about the distal taper, and now it's actually done. So when this bar started, it was about 4 pounds with the rough cut, and then with the rough grind, it was about 3 pounds. We took about 1 pound out. So now with the distal tapering, we've taken almost another pound out, not quite, but it's now down around 2 pounds, 3 ounces. So it went from 4 pounds to 3 pounds, now 2 pounds, 3 ounces is where it's currently at. And so the distal tapering goes from 1/4 inch. If you take your caliper, it's 0.2 now in the middle, and then 0.15 at the end. And it's given a really good weight, and it feels great. So I know the handle for this is about 3/4, about 0.8 to about 1 pound of pommel and guard. So I know the total handle weight is roughly 1 pound, and the original that this is based on in the Royal Armories up in Leeds is about 3 pounds 3 ounces. So I know if I have about 1 pound of handle, that I want to get the blade down to about 2 pounds 3 ounces. Now, aside from knowing the handle, I got a chance to meet with Tinker Pierce a while back. We had a very brief conversation, and this was years ago at a SHOT Show in Orlando. And he has some advice for me, and I follow it to this day all the time. He's a fantastic maker and a great person to talk to. But he mentioned whenever you're making a blade, and this doesn't go for every single blade, but for the most part, you want to balance out the blade prior to putting any handle on it. So the blade should feel good in the hand prior to doing any sort of handle work whatsoever. So you shouldn't need a pommel and a guard to balance out the blade. It should feel good without it. And this blade absolutely does. So before I did the distal tapering, again, even though the blade probably looks exactly the same as it did in the other video, that slight distal taper and reduction in thickness, down, especially down towards the tip, moves the balance point back to my handle and overall lightens the blade up. So before I did the distal tapering, I couldn't do this. Like, it was hard to do. I could do it, but nowhere near this fast. Now the blade feels great either in one hand or two. This is a 36-inch long blade, so it will be a two-hander, but again, it feels, Type 15s, they feel great in one hand. So yeah, so that's where we're at now. So the blade, all the rough grinding is completely done. And the additional time, so we spent about a half hour or so on doing the rough grind. And then doing the distal taper was roughly about the same amount of time, about another half hour or so. Depends on how fresh your belts are. And so one thing we do is, when we do the rough grind, we keep the thickness the same all the way through. So we don't touch the thickness in the rough grind. So that way when I go to the distal taper, I actually focus only on getting the thickness tapered down. So when I'm actually running my grind, because there's a nice ridge line, or if it's full, or 2 lines that are always the same thickness, when I start running my distal taper, it starts forming like an opposite triangle. And as long as I keep those lines even, that's how I know my distal taper is going to be even all the way down the blade. Now I don't have to guess and keep measuring every time I'm grinding it. So it's a pretty quick process, and it ends with a very good, very evenly distal tapered blade. And so yeah, so that's where we're at now. So the blade is, again, all roughly ground. It went from a bar of steel to now an actual sword blade. that is ready to be mounted. Obviously I have to do a finish grind on it, and then for the videos from here on out we're going to start working on the handle, and this blade will come all together. So thank you very much for watching. Again, if you have any questions, let us know, and excited to get this one going. Thanks.